Hi there, today we're unboxing a CCTV system. So this particular one is from Reolink. Details are in the description below for anyone thinking of purchasing. So the model of this particular system is RLK8-800D4. The system comes with 4 cameras, each one has a built-in microphone, 4K picture quality, and resolution wise it's 8 megapixel. The NVR, which is a network video recorder, has a pre-installed 2TB hard disk, and there's enough ports for 8 cameras if you wanted to expand it later on. So let's open it up and see what you get in the packaging. Okay, so you know the routine. I've laid out everything you get in the packaging, so let me quickly go through the items one by one. You get a CE Declaration of Conformity, and that's multi-language. Next, you get 5 templates to assist with installing the cameras, and it has a screw hole locations, and you also get some stickers. And this comes in a pack of 4, just to show, and each pack is multi-language, just to highlight. Then we have an operational instruction manual, and flicking through that, that's multi-language, and some basic details on getting up and running with this system. Next, we have some Ethernet connectors, and this is for the situation where you have to cut off the Ethernet port and put another connector on there. They don't give a crimping tool, just to be aware. You have to obviously buy that separately. So you can't do this without a crimping tool. You can't just cut it and slot that on. You will need a tool specifically for that. You get a bag full of fixtures, number of screws, and raw plugs. You get 4 waterproof seals. This is used for connecting the Ethernet cable to the camera, and this seals it up so you don't get water going in. You get an Ethernet cable. The length of this is 90 centimeters, and you'd use this to connect your NVR, which is a network video recorder, to your router. Build quality of the cable seems reasonably good. You get a HDMI cable. Build quality of this feels good. Length of it is 170 centimeters, and it looks gold plated, which is nice. You get a mouse, very cheap in build quality, and the cable length is 1 meter 17 centimeters. This is sort of standard mouse you'd get with any sort of CCTV system. No point getting anything more fancy, only because once you've got it up and running, that's it, away you go. You get a power adapter, and build quality of this feels good. Cable length is 110 centimeters, and in terms of output, you've got 48 volts, 1.875 amps. You get 2 power cables for the power adapter, and one is for the EU and one is for the UK. UK one is fused. The length of each of these cables varies, so the EU one is 36 centimeters and the UK one is 38. Build quality of the cable feels good. You get some Ethernet cables, so there's 4 bundles of this. Each one is 18 meters in length, and build quality seems reasonably good. Next, we have the camera. So you get 4 of these, and the cable attached to it is 50 centimeters in length. You've got 3 parts coming off there. So you've got the power of the Ethernet connectivity point here. You've got a DC connection point if it's required, but you shouldn't need that. And you've got a reset button here. In terms of build quality of the camera, you've got all plasticky finish around here, metal over here, and the lens just there. You've got a daylight sensor here, and the infrareds are around this location. Now, coming in close, you can see a small hole there, so that's probably for the microphone, I'm guessing. Vents either side here, and if I come underneath, interesting design to this, you just turn it and the plate comes off. Now, in terms of security, I guess if the camera is quite low down and people knew about that, they could literally spin it off, disconnect it, and run off with it. So keep that in mind. They should have had some sort of locking mechanism, I would have thought. But in terms of installation, it really does make it easier, because it's just a light plastic plate. Obviously, put it onto your area, use the template which they've provided, drill your holes, and then mount the bracket on, and then you can just place the camera onto this and then lock it into position, and then there you go. So installation wise, it's great. In terms of security, obviously just be aware of that. Finally, we've got the NVR. In terms of dimensions, it's 22 centimeters deep, width is 25.5, and 5 centimeters in height from the rubber at the bottom to the top area. 4 rubber bits at the bottom just to stop it slipping on a surface. Coming around the back, on off button, DC power connection point, phono connection for audio out, USB, HDMI, VGA, LAN connection. This is what connects to your router. You've got eSATA if you want to plug in an external hard disk, and you've got 8 power over Ethernet connection points. Now coming around the side, you've got a vent there, you've got some vents over here as well, vents on this side as well, and vents around the bottom. Coming around the front, you've got a USB connection point there, and then you've got a power and hard disk indicators. Looking here, you've got play, pause, all, menu, select, and some cursor options here. General build quality feels good, and just to note, there's a QR code underneath this for installation purposes. Let's get this system set up. So very easy with this, power adapter here, plug the cable in, and the DC connection point gets plugged in at the back. So that goes just over here. Mouse can be plugged in to the USB point there. Ethernet cable, this one goes to your router, so plugs into the LAN connection point. HDMI, this can plug into your TV, and then the camera. So one Ethernet port plugs in here, and the other one plugs into the camera. This part is the same for all 4 cameras. Ready to plug this into power, plug in the HDMI and Ethernet, and we're ready to go. Okay, so I've connected up the system, so now let's power it on. Okay, so the system's initialized, and in the background you can see the cameras already appearing. Now what's interesting, what you're seeing my existing CCTV on there. So it's already picked that up on the network as well as its own cameras. Now the dialog here is a setup wizard, and it's requesting for a password. This is a good start to things because then you'll secure your system straight away. So let me enter in a password off camera. I've entered in a password, let me click next. General configuration now. So you've got the QR code for the system here, and I can change the resolution to 4K. Time zone, set that to UK, and we'll do next to that. Now it's saying display resolution has been reconfigured. Do you want to keep these settings? Okay to that. Hard disk, so we can select it here and we can say initialize, and all the data will be cleared off there. Initialization is complete, so we can click next. IP address wise, it's picked up an IP address off my network using DHCP from my router. So that's what it's currently at. We can just click next to that. Next we have the IP address of the cameras and MAC addresses together with the camera names, and the IP addresses below here you can see are of my existing CCTV. So if I click next to that, you can set up an SMTP server. This is for getting email alerts. We'll skip that for now. Next to that, DDNS, if you want to configure that. NTP time server details here. DTS, a daylight saving time configuration, and we can just click finish. So there you go, as simple as that to get up and running with the system. So you saw for yourself, didn't have to enter in much, connect it up, and you're ready to go. Now the system's set up, and what I've done, I've removed my existing cameras from this. Obviously it's picked it up automatically, and it's quite easy to remove as well. There's 9 slots here, 8 are available for different cameras. Obviously the system only comes with 4, but you can expand it by adding 4 more cameras on there. Now if I double click on one of the cameras here, you've got some menu options at the bottom, so you've got playback. So if I click on there, now coming in here, you can search for particular footage you're after. So here you can see a start time and an end time on there. It's an all-day view here, and you can pick the channel you want just above there. Now if I click search, it will show all the recordings that have happened. So these are any sort of motion detections, and if I hit play, you can see here where I've repositioned the camera briefly. Now I can pause on that, fast forward, slow forwards on there. Coming across, I've got hide and exit. Now coming back on there, you've got mute, cut. Now if I right click, you've got digital zoom, console and exit. So let's exit on that. Let's come to the next one. Same thing again, let's go right to the bottom. And now we've got a view outside. And now if I right click, digital zoom, and now I can just zoom in on the area. Picture quality wise, it does seem quite good. And just to note, this is a digital zoom, so obviously quality is not going to be amazing in any way. Looking at the options here, obviously zoom in, zoom out, region zoom, so you can pick a region and just zoom in on there, and you can navigate around just by moving it around. Exit from there, and you can see the motion detection events here. So this is where the event has occurred, something's happened. And if I now exit out of there, this is what you're presented with. Then you've got backup, event, and log search. So you can search through events. Let's do a quick search on that. And this is a search through the log. There you go, what's been going on. Coming out of there, now if I double click, it comes out, you come into this view. Now if I come towards the bottom and I right click, you can see the different view options here. It's a single cam, 4 screen, 8 screen, 9 screen, next screen, and picture in picture, and then start tour followed by manual record. Now if I hit start tour and I double click one of the cameras, let's give it a moment, it just flips over to the next one. So it just keeps flipping over. So it just keeps touring all the cameras. So if you had a situation where you didn't want it showing all of them at the same time, you just wanted to skip through each one, this is the setting for that. Now coming back from there, let's turn that option off. And if I click here on menu, you can see the options available. So these are all the cameras. I've turned off auto add so it doesn't add in my existing system. And it's as simple as just saying you don't want it displayed, so just set it to none. Now clicking here, coming to display, you've got camera number and you've got camera name. So you can rename the cameras from here, so you can give it more distinctive names, so front, back, side, etc. Display camera name, record date, display water marking, OSD display position. You can move the time around, as you can see. You can just put it if you didn't want it in a particular position. And image settings, clicking on that, you can adjust settings here. Brightness, contrast, saturation, hue and sharpness. Mask, so you can mask out an area. So if you didn't want to infringe on anyone's privacy, you can just mask it out. So that's quite nice. So if you've got your neighbor's area here, you can just blank it all out. So it's just focus on your property here. Let's cancel out of there. Camera parameter, there's some details here. So anti-flicker, exposure mode, white balance, day, night, backlight, mirroring, rotation, 3D NR and light. This is nice. So if you've wanted to, for instance, change the rotation of this, you can move that around, and mirroring as well of the image. Okay, coming out of that, then you've got output. You can change the resolution, obviously on 4K at the moment. Transparency values there, mouse, border adjustment, you can change things there. And the tour time, so you can increase that to up to 300 seconds on there at maximum. Coming on to recording, you can see the parameters here. So the mainstream resolutions here with the frame rate. Maximum frame rate is 20 frames per second, bitrate values there, and substream. So this is when you're seeing a smaller image of the picture. So that's the resolution on the smaller picture. Frame rates here, so maximum can go to 15 frames per second, and that's the bitrate there. Then going to search, same as before, on playback you can just search for footage, and you can select particular cameras as well. Network, so this is your networking settings in there. Coming to advanced, these are some of the setup options we came across. So network status. Next we have alarm, so channel 1 enabled, and motion detection set. So it's set for everything at the moment. You can obviously delete it and set a different region, so this is good. So if you only wanted your area to be motion detection enabled, so you can do that there. This is where you'd set a motion detection alarm, video loss here, and exception here. So the exception would be a scenario where the hard disk is full, hard disk error, network disconnected, or there's an IP conflict with that. Coming to device, then you can see the hard disk in there, system, time zone details here, auto lock time, so it will lock it, so you'd have to type in your password and enable password. You can turn that off if you want it, best to have it on. User wise, only one user, you can add multiple other users in. System information, you've got the device name, and you've got some details here together with a QR code at the bottom. Maintenance, enable auto reboot, so it's rebooting every Sunday at 2 AM. Upgrade, and you've got factory reset here as well. Next, shutdown, and this is where you can shut down or reboot the device. And that's all the options you have available. As you saw, very easy to set up and a nice amount of functionality on there. Picture quality wise, it does look pretty good. Next, let me show how to set up the app for this device. So I'm at my Android phone. If I go to the Play Store and we search for Reolink, that's the app we're after. If you haven't got it installed, obviously install it. Mine's already installed, so if I click open, This is what you're initially presented with, and to add the system in, it's very simple. You click the plus there, camera comes on, and you just need to scan in the QR code which is on top of the NVR. So let me do that off camera. I've scanned in the QR code and I'm presented with a dialog to enter in the password. So this is the password you entered in when you set up the system. So let me enter that in off camera. I've entered in the password, let me click login, and there you go, as simple as that to add in. Already set up, and if I click here in the corner, you can click over here and you can see the 4 cameras. Obviously the other ones are disconnected because nothing's connected. If I click down there, you can just go to the 4 screen option there. Now coming back, if I click here, this is how it showed at the home screen on the app. And if I scroll across, you can see each of the cameras there and even the streams that aren't being used. Now, if I click here in settings, you can see the device here and how much storage is available. Below that, you've got receive push notifications. So if I turn that on, that's now enabled so the phone can receive push notifications. Share NVR, so you can share it with other members of your family or friends. Coming back, advanced, so if I click on there, you can see user management, you can add in more users on there. Probably worth doing that, so if you have shared the device with other people, you can see when they've logged on in the logs. Coming back from there, date and time, that's the system time at the moment, and if it's incorrect, you can just click synchronize phone time. Coming back, then you've got FTP upload, that's how you get that configured. Coming back, then you've got reboot and restore. Coming back from there, then you've got channel settings, so scrolling across, see each of the channels, and these are grayed out, obviously not used, but the 4 main ones in use are here. Clicking on one, you can see the options available for each one. So you've got display, you can see it now, you can rotate it if need be, put it back again. Quality, so this is the main resolution, then you've got fluent, that's for the reduced resolution sizes, and then you've got anti-flicker, day and night, camera name, where it's going to be shown, date, watermark, so you can turn off the Reolink watermark in the corner. So if you didn't want to see that, you can get it off, and that's fine, you don't really need to have it on. And next you've got privacy mask, so you can mask out certain areas as I've already shown via the interface, so that's quite nice to be able to do that. Coming out of that, and that's what it looks like once it's masked off. So if I go back in there, there you go, I can start off with a clear set and then just come out of there, and there you go, it's reset now. Scrolling down, then you've got exposure, white balance, backlight, 3D DNR, and these settings are the same for each camera going across. Okay, let's come back to the first one. Motion detection coming in there. Motion detection is currently on, and then you've got sensitivity below that, and you can adjust that. So the closer the person is, that's when you'll be notified. Cancel on that. Motion zones, so coming in here, it says create a zone over the area you don't want to receive alerts about. So you just literally mark it off, and you don't want to receive alerts about that. Okay, coming from there, then you've got schedule, and it's enabled for all the time. So you can disable certain time periods, and that's quite good. So if you didn't want it to alert, say for instance, when you're home, then you could have it like that. And if you know you're going to be out and about and you want it to then alert you, then you change it here. Okay, coming back from there, back again. Then we have camera recording, and then it's enabled for recording. Schedule for this, you can adjust it here. And you can see below, the camera will record videos continuously and identify motion triggered footage during selected time frames. So that's what you really want. So it's continually recording, and you can pick up bits when there is motion detected. That's the ideal setting, only because sometimes with these systems, if you only had motion detection, there is a possibility you could miss something. If there's quick motion happened, so if someone quickly came onto the footage and disappeared, it could be a possibility that could be missed. So always have it on continuous record and alerting when there is activity. Trigger recording, and this is the option where you can select the cameras that you want motion detected on. Post motion recording duration, it's set to 2 minutes, and it can go up to 10. So it's up to yourself if you want to keep going once the motion is detected, but if you've got it on continuous record, say this should be sufficient. Then you've got pack duration coming in there, you can adjust that, 30, 45 and 60. Overwrite, so any older footage will be overwritten when the storage is full. Coming back from there, enable push notifications. So this is quite good. So you can have push notifications coming directly to you if there's motion detected. And then we've got buzzer, the NVR, you could have a buzzer sounding on there if there's motion detected. So this would be useful, for instance, if on your doorstep someone turns up and you wanted to be informed via the NVR, then you could just get it buzzing away. Then you know someone's there. Then you can flip over and look at the camera. Then we've got record audio. When it's disabled, you will hear no sound in video live viewing and playback. So up to yourselves. I think it's quite a good feature to have, so you can hear any noise happening around when things are detected. And then finally, we've got delete NVR. So this is delete the system out of the app. Now, looking at the top, you can see the different cameras, and the settings are the same for each of the cameras. So you can amend it for different ones. So you can have motion detection on some and push notification on some and nothing on the others if you didn't want to have that. So good amount of functionality, and nice that you can change a lot of these settings from the app as well. So you don't have to do it at the console of the recorder. Coming back from there, and that's it. Now, if I go into the camera, let's pick one. These are the options for that. So clicking on here, channel selection, day, night, immersive, picture in picture. So let's go through these. So you can see the channels there, day and night. So you can turn off night vision if you didn't want that. Immersive, you just see all the cameras running. There you go, and you can scroll up through there. Okay, clicking on there, then you've got picture in picture. So this is quite good. You can carry on using your phone and have a small picture of the camera and movement happening. You can keep an eye on things. Then clicking on settings just goes back to that option for settings. Back again, scrolling across, you can flip between the different cameras, which is nice. And then below that, you can pause the stream, you can reinitialize it, you can listen in, take a picture, start a recording on your phone, stop that, change the resolution. So at the moment it's fluent, so that's the lower one. If I click on that, that's 4K now. Let's give it a moment to load up. Obviously it's going to use more bandwidth. Now that's taking quite a while to do. Let's flip back and go to balanced. Hopefully that should be able to cope, and yeah, that can cope. Clicking here goes to full screen mode, and you can move about on there as well. You can zoom in and out if you wanted. Let's go to that one. Zoom in, come out. Let's try taking the resolution up. Go to balanced. That's what we see with balanced. Let's try 4K again. So 4K is obviously, it looks like it's struggling to display it. Obviously the bandwidth that's required to pick that up is quite a bit. Now, not a major issue, but the advantage of this is at least it's been recorded in 4K, so keep that in mind. So even if you can't display it on your phone in 4K, that's not an issue. Main thing is it's been recorded, so if you needed to go through the footage, you know it's in high resolution. Okay, let's take that down to balanced. That should come back. There you go. Now clicking here, you've got navigation options if you had a PTZ camera. So this isn't PTZ, not relevant here. Let's come back. Now looking at the bottom, you've got clip. Drag the rectangle to see the position you want to see. So this is if you wanted to just see a particular location on there. Okay, coming back from there, PTZ we've already seen. Now we've got playback. Clicking on there, you can see the different recordings that have occurred on here. So if I click on one of them, you can just play back the footage. Performance wise, it seems good. You can get in there quite fast, and obviously I'm on my Wi-Fi network, so it's going to be quick regardless. Now coming back from there, and that's all the options you have available there. Next thing to test is coming off Wi-Fi and remote connectivity. So I've come off, 4G is connected, it says play over cellular data. I'll click there, and there you go, appeared. Now if I click there, fluent, let's go to 4K. Taking a while, no point. Let's go to balanced. And you can see the time ticking away there. Now coming to playback. Now this is me remotely checking out footage. And that performance is pretty good. There you go. You can see the side here moving around. Take that up a little bit. If you go to clear, Nope, not coming back. Let's get back to Fluent. Just struggles with high quality footage. Now, seeing below, you can see show alarm videos only. That shows all the alarm notifications that have gone off. So quite a few there. If I click back, there you go. Okay, coming back from there, and I should be able to flip between the different cameras. So good, no ports to open on your router, just works seamlessly via cloud connectivity. And let's now come back to 4 cameras. See if we can see all 4 at the same time. And there you go, all appeared. Probably best to keep it in low resolution when you are remotely looking at it, only to see good performance on there. Now I've repositioned one of the cameras just to show you the response time. So the screen's there, move my finger away. About a second, you can see for yourself. So not too bad in terms of performance. And now looking at my mobile, if I now go to settings, scroll down and record audio. So if I enable that on this camera, come back and I hit record, I can say test 1 2 3, test 1 2 3. And now if I stop that recording and we play that back, test 1 2 3, test 1 2 3. So very good. Sound quality is 1 2 3, test 1 2 3. Very impressive from it. So it's got a microphone, but it doesn't have a speaker, so you don't have two-way audio. Would have been nice to have that, actually. That would have been an interesting scenario. So for instance, if someone's at your doorstep, you could get a push notification informing you someone's there, and then obviously speak to them directly via the camera. Next, let me demonstrate push notifications. So for this, you've got to ensure receive push notifications is enabled, and looking below that, you've selected your camera and enabled push notifications for the particular camera. Now, if I come back from there, come out of the app, and if I put my hand over the camera for a moment, there you go, Motion Camera 8 from NVR. If I click on that, and there you go, there's a stream, so you can have a quick look what's going on. And again, performance wise, seems pretty good. Let's try again, but from our data connection. So if I come out now. So now if I put my hand over the camera, there you go, appeared straight away. So again, pretty cool. If there's any movement in a particular area, you can get notified. And again, you can just jump to that camera and see exactly what's going on there. And there you go, as quick as that. And performance wise, just to show, if I turn it now quickly, again, just a 1 second delay. So pretty good performance wise. Now, if I turn that on, test 1 2 3, test 1 2 3. Again, you can hear what's going on around the camera. So if anyone's talking in the background, you can hear what they're saying. Now, in terms of recording footage on the CCTV system, if you had it running 24/7, recording continuously, then you could expect to maybe have about 5 to 7 days of footage. Now, in terms of expectations, I wouldn't be too happy with that, because I'd want at least a minimum of a month on that. So you really got to play about with the settings. You can adjust some of the cameras to just take down the resolution. On some, you could have it just on motion detection. You might not want continuous 24/7 recording on there. So matter of playing around, or the alternative is just to get a massive hard disk, put that in, and that will enhance the amount of footage you can record. So thing to keep in mind, if you are going to record in 4K, you're going to need a lot of storage for this. Now I'm at a distance of about 2.5 meters away from the camera. This will give you an idea what the sound quality is like. If I walk out, there you go, about 2 to 3 meters away. Okay, so you've seen the unboxing and setup of this CCTV system from Reolink. Really impressed with it. So you get 4 cameras, Each has 8 megapixel 4K resolution on there. Picture quality is absolutely stunning on there. Simple to set up and configure, literally plug and play. You don't really have to mess around with the settings. You can remotely connect to it via your mobile, which is nice, and you can get push notifications from particular cameras. One of the features I really liked about this is the fact it has microphones built onto the cameras. So if you wanted to listen in once you've been notified, you can do that as well, which is useful to have. You can mask off areas as well if you wanted. If you were infringing on someone's privacy, like your neighbor's area, you can mask that off as well, so that's not recorded. In terms of negatives, if I was really nitpicking, I could suggest the actual mounting plate here. Obviously it's just an easy twist and the camera comes away. So if the camera's quite low down, there could be a potential of it being removed. But again, you're not going to put it too low down, you're going to put it at a reasonable height. And the other negative really would be the fact that you couldn't stream at 4K to your mobile. But that's not a major issue, only because it's still recording in 4K in the background on the NVR. Just to note, the cameras aren't compatible with the Google Home Hub or the Alexa Show, so you can't stream the cameras directly onto those devices. So there you go, I hope it's helped anyone thinking of purchasing this. Details are in the description below. Thanks for viewing, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.